Spooky month meets spooky game. And what better game to play than the original Dead Space? Released in 2008 by Visual Games and published by Electronic Arts, Dead Space is a survival horror third-person shooter played from the over-the-shoulder perspective. You play as Isaac Clarke, an engineer working for the USG Kellion. You and your crew have been tasked to search for the USG Ishimura, a planet cracker that has been lost in space.
There she is. We have visual contact.
So that's Ishimura. Impressive.
The USG Ishimura. Biggest planet cracker in her class. And it looks like they already popped the cork.
Once you get inside the planet cracker, you will begin to discover things aren't as they seem.
Witness the conviction of a true man!
The main enemies you'll be fighting throughout the entire game are called the Necromorphs. They are reanimated human corpses, so they're basically kind of like zombies. There's a whole variety of Necromorphs you'll be at combat with as you traverse through the deserted planet cracker, ranging from the slashers, to the dividers, to the exploders, and to the brutes. As you're fighting through the Necromorphs, you'll also be given different objectives by your crew, which actually are kind of the same all around. They'll just tell you what to do. You will be given a whole bunch of weapons to battle your way through the reanimated terrors. The first weapon you'll get, and probably the most useful one, will be the plasma cutter. Then as you get deeper, you'll find more weapons, such as the pulse rifle, the line gun, and the Ripper. A core aspect of the gameplay is the lack of a HUD. There isn't any health bar or ammo counter. That's all done on your character model. The health bar is displayed at the back of your suit, and the ammo counter is displayed on the weapon itself. There's also a rounded meter at the back of your suit, which shows how much stasis you have. Stasis is a sort of module that allows you to slow things down, which is used to solve some puzzles and can be used to slow down necromorphs and other obstacles. Probably one of the most innovative aspects from this game is the dismemberment-based gunplay. You should forget your basic knowledge of most shooters, as aiming for the head or center mass will usually not do you any good. In fact, decapitating one of the necromorphs will just aggravate it even further and just make it flail its arms all around. The best way to get rid of the necromorph is by cutting off their limbs. You'll have to aim at their arms and legs to make sure they're dead. Among the various types of enemies, you'll also be encountering different bosses and mini-bosses throughout the game. Now, I had a lot of fun with the bosses. They're a lot of fun to fight against, especially the Leviathan. I really had a lot of fun with that, mainly because of the zero gravity mechanic. Speaking of which, let's segue onto that. There are certain areas in the game which have zero G or zero gravity. During the sections you have magnetic boots that are tied to a surface, then you just press a button, then you can fly onto another surface if it's within reach. Another type of different areas you'll be going through are the vacuums, which contain no oxygen at all, so you better make sure you have enough air while you traverse through there. This is a horror game after all, so how does it do in the horror department? I say it's fine in the horror department. It may rely on jump scares at times, but it also has its moments of slow building tension throughout. One thing I have to say about this game is its presentation. It looks amazing, especially for its time. Although I'd say the graphics improved a little bit better in the sequel, but I mean seriously, it's 2008. This looks extremely good for it. And I would say that it might actually look better in some games that are released today. The sound design is also another important aspect of this game, as you can use sound to tell if there's a necromorph nearby. But for the most part, you'll be hearing the droning ambience and metallic sounds of the Ishimura. Something that I hear doesn't get talked about is a lot is the score, because I actually do like it. I think it really sounds good for a horror movie, even though, because I guess it's just kind of stock horror music. But yeah, I'd totally use it in one of my movies. I actually might. The story, I won't get into too much detail, especially for those who want to play the game, but I'm pretty sure most people watching this, which are probably going to be my friends, are not going to be playing this game, but I still won't get too much into it. I'll just give my thoughts on it. It's a pretty straightforward and simple story. You're mostly told it through dialogue spoken by your crew, as Isaac is a mute protagonist, so you won't be hearing anything from him. Around the Ishimura are many audio and text logs that you can read and listen to find out what happened before you got there. After all is done, it took me about 12 hours to finish. You get a bunch of unlockables and New Game Plus, of course, and Impossible Mode, which I might try someday, but I'm not too sure at the moment. In conclusion, I would say this is a really good horror game. I'm not sure if I'd say it's one of my favorites, but it's up there. It's got really satisfying gameplay, great visual and auditory presentation, easy to follow story, you don't need to do too much deep diving into it, and obviously the only logical thing to do after finishing the first game is play the second game, of course, which I might get to in another video, but I can't make any promises about that. I actually finished it at the time of recording this, but I'll see how this one does, and then I'll make a video about the second one.